This is All Access MMA.
My next guest pulled off a really impressive victory this past weekend, submitting Miles Johns in the third round at UFC Fight Night, February 5th. It is John Castaneda back here on the program. John, how are you, sir?
James, I'm doing well. Thanks again for having me, brother.
Hey, it's always a pleasure, man. Where does that win rank in terms of career highlights? You've had some big wins in your career, but to finish Miles Johns, who had only been stopped one other time in his career, that's got to be up there.
No, absolutely. I don't think it was more so, it's a combination of how I performed, but also, yes, the name behind the performance, beating a guy like Miles John, who's, he was riding a 2-fight winning streak, a 2-fight knockout winning streak. Tough dude, you know what I mean? Durable dude and a young up and comer. So it was good to beat him, but also just to perform the way I did. I think that it for sure is probably one of my best performances, if not my best.
It seemed like the game plan going in was to be the aggressor. It looked like Miles was kind of teeing up on that big shot, and you just wanted to sort of take him out of his element. And you could see that early on, like you were landing kicks. Miles was kind of trying to load up. Was that was that accurate as far as the game plan going in, or what was the actual game plan? I guess is what I should ask.
For sure, no, right from the get go, I had to give him a couple hard kicks up top too, just to kind of keep him responsible. I think that kind of made him gun shy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he didn't throw as much as he wanted to, just because he knew the threat for the head kick was there. I'm pretty sure that was the very first strike I threw too. I threw that head kick and I threw it with some intent behind it. It was 100% blocked, but still, it just kind of gets you thinking, right off the bat, like, okay, this guy can kick my head off if he wants to. So, like you said, I had him backing up that whole fight after that. So that was the game plan: be more aggressive, be in his face, but also be responsible with keeping my high guard, because he's got nothing but power.
You nearly finished him in that second round. Did you sense the tide was turning at that point? Because you could kind of see it just in his body language and everything. Like you were really taking over and he was kind of retreating a bit. Did you sense that when you were in the cage with him?
Absolutely. The more the second round went on, the cleaner my shots were landing, and I had to use less effort to kind of land them. So I knew he was kind of, his gas tank wasn't there anymore. And so I was kind of just being patient. You're right. I could have finished in the second round, but I was just kind of really practicing on being patient, because I feel like maybe Miles has been there before. Miles has been the guy who maybe was tired in some of his previous fights, and the other guy sensed it and maybe was a little bit too overzealous, and boom, knocks you out just like that. So I just needed to be responsible and patient with it.
Do you think earlier in your career you might have gone for the finish there, just, and then because you never know what could happen, right? Because Miles obviously has that power. Maybe he throws a strike, you don't know. Do you sort of rely on that veteran experience, being like, look, we don't have to put him away right now. We can sense he's fading. We'll catch him at the right moment.
100%. And just like I think we talked about just a couple of weeks ago, Miles, we knew he was going to be a tough start.
Yeah.
A tough start, first round, maybe second round, but in the third round, he kind of withers down a little bit. And I told you, I'm a slow starter and I kind of pick it up as the fight goes on. So that's exactly what we were already anticipating. But yes, I think that I've had so many fights and I've seen so many different styles, and I've just gained a little bit of experience in fight IQ. So yeah, I think that had to do with it as well.
I know you don't get paid by the hour. You probably would have liked a first round finish if it would have happened. But in some ways, are you happy that you got to display a little bit more of your skill set as well, and just sort of see a different side of you? Because we know you can get the early finishes, but I think we saw a very well-rounded game in the cage on Saturday.
Absolutely. And, I think that you're right. Like you said, I would have loved a first round finish, but the perks of having the 3-round fight is like exactly what you said. I got to show some good boxing, some good Muay Thai, definitely some good jiu-jitsu and some good wrestling. You know what I mean? So I kind of got to show my whole game, and I've been working hard this past year. I think we spoke about that in our previous interview. I haven't fought for a full year, but this past year we've been nothing but working. And I hope this year, 2022, will be a very active year.
And you mentioned it in our last interview about getting COVID. That's the reason you were out of the last fight. Did any effects from that, like in that fight at all? Because I know for some people it does kind of linger for even a while, right?
No, and it did linger, and that's why I feel like that's why I kind of took a couple of months off after I got it last year. Mm-hmm. But 100%, if anything, 110% now, so we're good to go.
How'd you celebrate after that win? That must have been a fun night.
Yeah, we went to not really. We went to this pizza place. I think it was called Spaghetti Western in Las Vegas. Got some really good pizza, and then honestly just went back to the hotel. I was ready to get home. I got a whole farm over here at the house, and
Do you
some
really? I
people
don't
wait.
think I've asked you that. You have an actual farm where you live. I didn't know that.
No, I just say it's
Oh,
a
okay.
farm. I have a lot of animals. I
Yeah.
have cats and dogs and stuff like that. So no, I don't live in a farm. I just live in a house.
That's still very cool as well. What's been the feedback from fans on social media? Again, I tweeted it out on Saturday. You know, probably I'd say one of your biggest wins of your career. Did you feel the love on Saturday night after that performance?
Yeah. I think it's kind of been right on par with that. It's definitely feed from family, from friends, from fans. You know, social media. It's all been the same across the board. My best performance to date. I was such a big underdog. You know, such a big win. So it was all on par for sure. And it, honestly, like it was. Like I truly feel like it was one of my best performances, and I don't even feel like it really went 100%. Like I can put on very, very good performances. And I think that I'm going to do that from here on out. You know, I have the right mindset now. I got the right coaching. We changed up a little bit this camp. And I think that's why I was able to push my cardio so much. And I think I'm not going to tell my secrets as to what we were doing, but we were doing we were doing really good stuff. And I'm going to keep doing that from camps on out. So I guess what I'm saying is you can anticipate that kind of style from me from here on out.
Love it. Anyone win any big money on your fight?
You know what? I saw a better. I don't know if I can do this, but I'll send you a message. Some better messaged me on Instagram and showed me his bet ticket, 11,600 that I get a finish. $11,600 that I get a finish, and I think it definitely doubled his money because just the money line on my fight was like plus 180, but I think by finish was probably substantially more. But I'll send you a picture.
Yeah. We'll talk on IG. That makes sense. And then obviously the UFC must have been happy with that performance. Again, I know it's been kind of a long road for you to get to the UFC. We don't have to mention the promotion you were fighting for before, but I know that was a thing where like you really wanted to get to the UFC, and you know now you finally made your debut. You had the short notice fight, but now you get this big win. Like it's got to feel good. I'm sure they must have been impressed on Saturday.
No, absolutely. And like I said in my post-fight interview, I think that I actually do think I have one more fight left on my current contract, but I think that fight right there on this past Saturday solidified myself a second contract. So hopefully you guys will be seeing a little bit more of me.
When are you looking to get back in there? Fresh win. I know you went a couple of rounds as well. I'm sure you want to enjoy a bit of time off, but when would be an ideal time for you to get back in there?
No, honestly, I definitely went a couple rounds, but I'm healthy. I'm good to go. I want an active year, at least 2 more. If I'm lucky, 3 more, but I'm trying to get back in here by the end of April. I think there's a card on April 30th, and then I think there might be a card early May. So one of the 2 cards for sure there. Just I'm already working on keeping my weight down and staying healthy in the gym. So I actually just got back from training just today. I ran a couple miles on the treadmill, did a little grappling, and everything feels good. So we're good to go.
Good. That's awesome, man. And what about an opponent? Anyone in mind? You're looking at the rankings. I mean, this is a big win for you, man. Like, I don't think like I said, Johns has lost 1 fight in the UFC other than what you did to him on Saturday. So I think you got a lot of momentum here as far as getting a next opponent.
For sure. I don't have anybody at the top of my head that I want to call out, but eventually, and this, I said this earlier, like, I mean, no disrespect by this, but I've always looked up to Cody Garbrandt. He's been even before I was in the UFC, I loved his style. When he beat Dominic Cruz, I was like, man, that's pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world right there. And I would love to fight Cody Garbrandt, but not on any like disrespect stuff. You know what I mean?
No, of course.
I think he's one of my idols, and he'll probably turn around and say like, oh, John, who's this guy? You know, he hasn't fought anybody, whatever. You're right. I haven't yet. And I haven't done the things that you've done in this sport, but I think he's on a couple fights skid right now. So it'd be a good tune-up fight for him. I guess he could say, you know what I mean? But I think that would be like my dream matchup. I would love to fight Cody Garbrandt. He's been one of my idols forever.
Love it. That's good. And of course, I don't think it's possible for you to talk any trash or anything. You've always been such a nice guy in these interviews. I think it would be out of character if you were to say, I want this guy or whatever. So, but I got to ask anyways. Last question, most important question. What's on the agenda the rest of the week? You mentioned going to do some training. Are you getting to celebrate at all, or what's been the plan for the rest of the week?
Honestly, my way of celebration is just through food. Like I'm over here just chowing down. You know, that's like my way of celebration. I'm right back in the gym this week. You know, we're taking it slow this week for sure, just to make sure we don't overwork our bodies. But then we're right back to hard training next week. So I'm hanging out with my family. My mom lives out an hour and 30 minutes west from here, so we're definitely going to get some family time. But otherwise, it's just family and food time.
Love it, John. And media time, always making time for me, John. Really appreciate it, man. Just remind people where they can get a hold of you on social media, and if you got any sponsors or shoutouts, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, so I got a new Twitter handle. My Twitter got hacked or something. My new Twitter handle is John Castaneda. or I'm sorry, Sexy Mexi _UFC. Sexy Mexi _UFC.
Okay.
Obviously, you guys can find me on Instagram, John Castaneda _. And then big shout out to my gym, the Minnesota Martial Arts Academy, my head coach, Greg Nelson, my striking coach, Nathaniel Edward Darwin McIntyre. Other than that, though, just everybody who supports me and everybody who tuned into the fights on Saturday. Appreciate you. And you as well, James. Appreciate you as well.